So we are now on to non-90 degree triangles. I'm going to show you how to set this up to use with sine law and or cosine law, depending on which type of question you're going to do. So I'll help with the setup and I'll allow you to do the calculations. All right, so I'm only going to do part of these. I'll start with the setup for a question like number 2, where we have in triangle ABC, angle A is 61 degrees, angle C is 42 degrees. Just one quick note, we know that this is not a 90 degree triangle because the two of those add up to more than 90 degrees, 103 degrees, and it's not possible in flat triangles to have more than 180 degrees. All right, so I'm going to make sure that I'm setting this up the same, using the same system as I used with the 90 degree triangles, where angle A, okay, so capital A, 61, the writing's going to be quite hard to read. Angle A, 61 degrees. Angle B, we are not given, and angle C we are given, and it is 42 degrees. Okay, now the other piece of information that we're given is that the side length C, so that is lowercase c, is equal to 5.1. All right, so that means lowercase b is down here right across from uppercase b, and lowercase a over here, indicating the side A is right directly across from uppercase A. Great, so we have labeled the triangle correctly. What we talk about in class is that whenever you have a matching pair, you're going to be using sine law. So this is how I figure out whether I should be using sine law or cosine law. And we talk about all that in class. It's also in the instructions for this package, but we do have a matching pair here, and by matching pair we mean a side that's known and its corresponding angle is also known. All right, and what are we asked to solve for? Calculate the value of A. So we're asked to solve for another side, and we have its corresponding angle, so we are okay to go ahead and use sine law here. So the version of sine law I'll use is A over sine A is equal to C over sine C. It's the only thing that's important here for lining this up is to make sure that the known side and angle, so the matching pair that you know, are together on one side of the proportion. Next, I fill in the information that I know. And what I have is A divided by sine of angle A, which is 61, and then C, which has a side length of 5.1 over sine 42, which is sine of angle C. Because this is a proportion, I can take advantage of the cross product rule, which means then that to isolate and solve for A, all I need to do is bring sine 61 up to multiply by this fraction over here, and you should get the correct result as long as you're not rounding off until the very last step, until your final answer. You should get the correct calculation, and also remember that your calculator needs to be in degrees, not radians or gradians. We're working with degrees right now. We'll take a look at radians later on. All right, so here's an example where we're going to need to use cosine law. So there's a couple of different versions for cosine law. This one here, as you'll see from the instructions and from what we did in class, we don't have a matching pair. We've got angle A up here, but we don't know its corresponding side, so there's no matching pair. What we do know is side C and side B, so we know two sides plus the contained angle. And that tells us that we're allowed to use cosine law. And the version of cosine law that we use for that, as you'll see in your package, is that C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine C. Apologize for the writing, that's the best I can do on the tablet. But anyway, you're just going to fill in your values. Now, the reason that I chose this example is because this gets pretty confusing because it looks like side A and side B and side C are going to be going into the wrong parts of the equation, and that would be true. So here's how I'm going to try and help you set this up. And that is the one that you're solving for in question number 8. This is the one I'm setting up. You're asked to calculate the value of side A. All right, so if I'm calculating side A, that's what has to go right in here. All right, so that's confusing because it looks like it's going in for C, but just think in the formula that first letter there, C squared, that's the one you're solving for. The other important piece of information, if that's the one that you're solving for, is, okay, so is there, then we are going to be putting in 123 degrees over here in order to solve this thing, right? A squared and B squared, well, that's not going to matter. You can put in 11.2 or 5.1 for either of those and repeat it there. You're going to take cosine of 123 degrees, and when you calculate the whole thing, you're going to end up with the result of C squared, and then you're going to take the square root of that to finish it off. So one last note as we finish off this section on non-90-degree triangles. I know I haven't covered every single type of question, but I want you to do some thinking and researching into the instruction document that I gave you. It shows you how to do each of the types of sine law and cosine law. One other one that I wanted to point out is in question number 9, you'll notice that you have 3 sides, and when you have all 3 sides and you're asked to solve for an angle, that's when you'll be using the second version of the cosine law, all right, which is cosine of C is equal to A squared plus B squared minus C squared over 2AB. It's just the same cosine law formula rearranged. So for question number 9, you're going to be pulling out this other formula, substituting values in a very similar way, and hopefully you'll get the same result. And if you're not getting the same result, let's talk about it in class, or you can do some further digging into the instructions that are posted on Blackboard.